So we are in sunny Melbourne, down here, where are we?
By Morris.
By Morris?
Ricketts Point.
Ricketts Point, yeah, you can see some people out there in the ocean swimming around on their boards. It's a beautiful day here in Melbourne, and we completed the Camino 6 months ago, so we thought it might be a good opportunity to sit and chat all things Camino. Okay, hello. So we have done lots of, well, I've put up 2 separate Camino videos since we've been back, which was step by step our accommodation. But what we thought we might do is talk to each one of those. So we arrived in Finisterre on day 32. So we walked for 32 days straight. We didn't have any break days. We did have 1 or maybe 2 10, 15 kilometre days, but otherwise the other 30 were probably all over 20 kilometres. So we're going to start off with, we also started our journey on the, I'm going to say the 29th or the 30th of July. Okay, so July the 29th we arrived at Saint Jean Paul de Port, and we stayed at La Villa Esponda. That was booked through, I think it was booked through like bookings.com or something, wasn't it? Yeah. And what did we think of that one?
We loved it. It was a beautiful place. Unfortunately, we got there late in the day because we missed trains, so we didn't get to enjoy it that much. We really just slept there and left. But yeah, beautiful outlook coming through the windows. Good location.
Yeah, it was a great location. The linen, I remember the linen. Linen was beautiful and soft and just very luxurious. And I think her name was Sarah as well.
She came and picked us up.
She came and picked us up
train station.
From the train because our train had been delayed. Long story, I'm sure you've seen it in our videos, but we didn't get to Saint Jean Paul till about 6 o'clock at night instead of 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we walked 27 kilometres, was it?
Yep.
To Roncesvalles.
Yep.
And we stayed that night at the monastery. I didn't mind the monastery. Shane didn't love it.
I didn't love it. I just didn't love all the rules. So you get locked out. You have to be in by, can't even remember now, 9
10 o'clock?
or 10.
Whereas I didn't mind it. The beds there as well were like 2 bunks facing each other. So there was like 4 people per cubicle, and you had your own little locker area right next to your bed with a key. There was also charging points at your bed as well. Not sure about aircon, but I don't remember it being hot, so that was fine. We woke up after the monastery and we headed to Zabri. So Roncesvalles to Zabri was about 22 kilometres, and in Zabri we stayed at Suzia. We loved Suzia.
We did love Suzia.
But there was no aircon.
No aircon, it was hot.
It was like a hot box.
37 degrees. It was quite loud as well outside, so you couldn't really open the windows onto the street.
Yeah,
but Suzia, the lady running it, was
beautiful.
Really, really nice, and nice garden out the back, washing facilities there. So yeah.
She had like a little mini bar, self-serve, help yourself mini bar with beers and drinks and chips and stuff, and you just left a donation for things, which was also really handy because when you get in you just want a cold drink. We had a private room there. What was the price?
It wasn't right in the middle of town, it was sort of on the edge of town away from the track, but
the price was 40, no, what was the price?
Euros.
44, no, what was it?
Yeah, paid arrival.
Oh yeah, 44
euros.
euros, so it would have been 22 euros each. Breakfast wasn't included, but there was a spot inside where you could have breakfast. Okay, so day 3, Shane.
Zabri to Pamplona. We didn't actually pre-book that. We just rolled in there and caught up with a few friends, and then just found it on bookings.com or something. Literally 5 minutes
Frances
before
app.
we went and had a look. Yeah, that was really nice. We had a private room. The place was called
So the albergue in Pamplona, which we booked last minute, was called what?
Albergue de Pamplona.
And how much was that?
And it was 41 euros for a private room.
Yeah, and that was like 2...
shared bathroom.
Shared bathroom, and we had like a bunk on top of each other. We had a bunk, and it was in just a private tiny little room, the bunk.
Yeah.
And then where?
Yeah, that place was all right.
Yeah, that place was fine, and it was pretty cheap. It was very well located. The showers were fine. There were washing facilities there, but we didn't wash that night. There was also kitchen facilities there, but we didn't use them.
Yep. Then we went Pamplona to Chinquin.
Which was beautiful. I remember that one.
Yep.
That was where we walked the extra. How many k's was that?
36.
36 k's. So everyone stopped just before Chinquin Chiquin, but I can't remember the town's name, but we kept walking.
10 Ks before.
Yeah, we kept walking with our friend Nicole from Holland, and we stayed at a lovely, lovely place. What was the prices there, Shane?
Prices, Elberg Maritex.
Yep.
Cash was €17 each and €15 for dinner.
So dinner you didn't have to do dinner, but there wasn't really anything open, so I'm glad we did. But we had dinner downstairs in an old cellar that they had refurbished into a dining room, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And the food that we had was all vegetarian, but it was a really beautiful meal. It was it was a really nice night, actually.
It was a nice night.
The alberg itself, there was probably about 10 beds in our room, but on each floor there was different beds, and you could get a private room. But
yeah, had a nice patio looking out over the church, right at the top of the hill.
Yeah, that was a nice spot. I'd stay there again.
Yeah,
it was good.
Nice guy that we met running it.
Yeah.
Day 5, so we went from Chiquin to Lequin, 23 kilometres. We stayed at Casa Tiago, €15 each.
Casa Tiago.
Yes.
That's
where
right.
We met the boys, hang
At
out
the
by the
pool.
pool all afternoon.
So that place there, you could actually get a bed in the dorm for €15, or we could get a double room for €30. So for the same money.
Yeah, so they said it was actually a single room, but it had a double bed in it.
Yes.
So they gave the price, and they had another room that was a double room that had a queen in it, but it was more expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
So basically we had a double room for the same price as sharing a dorm.
Yes.
What it means though, when you have your own private room, which we loved, was you can turn the light on at 5:30, 6 o'clock when you're getting ready. You can make noise, you can spread your stuff out everywhere, and you can it's a little bit nicer getting ready in the mornings. You know, it's a bit of a luxury, and it's a nice luxury to have. That town also has a local pool and some really great food, and it was cheap and it was beautiful. Yeah, the olives. I bought some to take away with me to eat on the rest of my Camino.
So it's on the alternate route, Lequin. It's not the main route. Yeah, remember we came through Estella, and then we had the option of going left or right on the main route.
Can't quite remember, but yes. It was that was a good place to stop as well.
Yeah, definitely recommend that place. Day 6, we went from Lequin to Viana, 29.2 kilometres, and there we stayed in our first Hotel Pasalibo Pujadas. Yep, from bookings.com, and that was €38 each, including breakfast.
Yeah, so €38 each, which actually was good value. It was a beautiful room. It was our first bathtub. No, it wasn't. It was second, because Suzia also had a bathtub, but we didn't use it. This place had a bathtub, which was great to just wash our clothes in our room and then hang them out on the window.
Yeah, we really liked that place.
We loved it.
The window looked over the square.
Yes.
Great central location. Yeah, it was nice.
Yes.
Everything about it was great. Big room.
Yeah, and also
great breakfast. Helen's
my gosh,
thing.
It was the best breakfast in the world. At that point, it was definitely, and actually, I think it was one of the best breakfasts we had on the Camino, to be honest.
Yeah.
Where it had like full buffet breakfast, you just pick, and there was no one else in there, so it was like, you know, it was just nice.
Salads, meats, desserts.
Yeah, but what we did do is we stayed in a hotel knowing the next day was only going to be a 10-kilometre day, which means we didn't have to check out at 6 a.m. We stayed till probably 10 a.m. and enjoyed the sleep in and enjoyed breakfast, and then started the next day, which was to where? Logrono, and it was only 10 k's, but we could leave at 10 a.m. and it was perfect to do that. It was hot, it was warm, but instead of having a rest day, it was just a 10k day. So if you're going to stay in a hotel and you want to enjoy it, make sure the next day is a short day so you can enjoy the luxury of being in a hotel.
So day 7, Viana to Logrono, 9.7 kilometres, and we stayed at a pension there, Pension Logrono. I guess that's probably meant to be Logrono, but that was through bookings.com. That was €49.50. And
that was terrible. We didn't like that.
We didn't like that at all.
That was the one where it sent you the code on your phone, and then you had to use your code onto a keypad, and then when you got in, we had to, it told us...
Didn't know which floor we were on, so you had to go up all the floors.
All the stairs.
And then we had to find another code to get a key to in there. There's obviously no one in there. And then what it was just like an apartment, and they just rented out all the rooms and sort of sectioned them off. And we had a drunk guy in there yelling at his wife. There was a family in there with kids that looked like they lived there.
It was a shared bathroom.
Yeah, we didn't like it at all.
When you put your feet outside the bed, you pretty much touched the wall. So it was a very tight, squeezed tight fitted room. At the end of the bed there was like a little desk and there was a fridge and there was a fan, so it was definitely a cool night. I remember sleeping comfortably. I didn't hear the drunk man outside. Shane did, but I slept solid that night because it was bed was comfortable and it was cool, but it was just for what we paid. It was poor value. It also wasn't near any of the places where we got to Logrono early. We didn't see any other pilgrims. It was actually, that was probably the saddest day.
Yeah, we got there too early. Everything was shut.
Yeah,
because it's such a big town. Quite often it's hard to find other pilgrims there.
And it was hot. We went and sat down by the river, but the grass wasn't even nice grass. So that was a bit of a disaster. We probably should have just kept walking at that point, but we didn't. But yeah, the place definitely wouldn't stay there again.
Day 8 went from Logrono to Azufra. 28.7 kilometres, and there we stayed at the Alberg Municipal for €15.
And that one was the one that had 2 single beds in it with a door.
Yes,
so
the whole place is full of it, 3 stories, whatever it is.
Yeah, 3 stories. Yeah. So if you were on your own, the chances are you would be sharing with someone next to you, because that guy that we were talking to, didn't he have someone in his room?
And most of the rooms were empty, and he's like, why can't I just have my own room?
Exactly, yeah, that's true. And that was cheap, and
they do
it was
have a
comfortable.
Nice bath out the front, like a foot spa.
Yeah.
So you can put your feet in.
You could put your body in.
Yeah,
it was probably deep enough to put your body. Did you stand in it?
I sat in it with my feet in, I think.
Yeah, we sat on the sides and put our feet in, but did you actually get in it?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was a great relief for the feet that day, because that was a boiling hot day as well. But also in Zofra, there was a great little restaurant there where we had some really nice food.
We did.
Church was closed. We couldn't get into the church, but yeah, that alberg in Zofra.
Paella, wasn't it?
Yes, we had the paella. Yep.
And something else,
Yeah, salad and some potatoes, because there were some people next to us eating. So that was a great place to stay. Really cheap, really nice.
Yep. And from there, day 9, Azufra to Villa de Iroha.
Yes, that was Maria's house, wasn't it?
29.4 kilometres. We stayed at Alberg, Parada Viloria. €9 each day.
Viloria, yes, that's where Maria was. That was a donation for dinner. She made us paella. That was the day where I felt like my calf muscle was falling off my leg, as I was in a lot of pain when we got there. At that, I'm not sure if that alberg will stay there forever though, because she talked about they're building a freeway through there. So, I mean, if you can get off there and go and stay there, beautiful, Valoria. And her name was Maria, and the accommodation was probably only 15, 20 beds upstairs. They were
quite small.
Maybe 10 bunks.
Yep.
Maybe 10 bunks, and there were 2 people on a bunk, so 20 people. But it was a big communal pilgrim meal. So you leave a donation for dinner, but also in the morning you can leave a donation and you can take some fruit, some boiled eggs, some handmade biscuits, some toast, some make coffee. So yeah, that was a really great setup actually.
It was nice. We liked her place.
Really good setup.
Yep, and she was lovely.
She was beautiful. Day 10.
Day 10, Valoria, we went to San Juan de Ortega.
Yes.
31.9 kilometres, and stayed at Alberg al Descanso.
And that one, we stayed at the first alberg when you get
€15 each.
€15, yep. That was the first alberg that you get into town. That walk from Valora to de Ortega was, remember we walked up like through a rainforest?
That was where I had the bad knee.
You had the bad knee problem, yes.
But then we landed at the pub at the end, which is where we stayed, had the accommodation.
Yeah, and we had a room that we shared with another
2 people.
2 people.
Yeah, 2 bunks.
So there was 4 beds in the room. It was a private room with 4 beds, 2 bunks. That was the nice one.
One bathroom between us all.
One bathroom.
That was good. We liked it.
Yeah, and also I had little lockers in the room as well. I don't remember any aircon. I do remember being a bit hot, but we were right next to a window, so we had the window open. So that was a comfortable stay. That was a nice stay.
Run by a father and son. They were both really nice.
Yes, helpful. And actually on the Wise Pilgrim app, they've got lots and lots of great reviews. Yeah. So definitely worth staying there.
Day 11, San Juan Ortega to Burgos. 21.7 kilometres. We stayed at a hotel there, Hotel Boral Viento Norte, €88.
Now, we didn't like that one, did we? That's the one that had the disabled bathroom.
Yes.
And when we got there was no fridge, so I had to go down and ask them. Was there air conditioning in that one?
There was aircon.
Was aircon, so that was good. I think what happened was, once you make the mistake once where there's no aircon, you generally will start looking out for aircon. When you're paying good money to stay at a hotel, you want aircon. So yeah, they had aircon.
Yeah, they shut reception really early, so you sort of have to let yourself in and out. Yeah, I didn't really like the bathroom, so I had a disabled bathroom, which meant there was no screen anywhere, so water just got all over the floors, all through the bathroom. Yeah, we weren't a huge fan of it, but it was okay.
I didn't mind the bathroom at all. It was very clean, it was tidy, it was in a great location, it wasn't badly priced, but we did have a bit of an ordeal afterwards when Shane had his complaint, and then they cancelled his booking online and all sorts of stuff happened, but it wasn't a bad place to stay. But I'm sure there's better. There's better for that money.
There is.
Tarados.
Day 12, Burgos to Tarados, 11.2 kilometres. And we stayed at an albergue, La Casa di Belli, for €12.
Yeah, and that was actually, it was a good one. I didn't mind that one.
I didn't mind it.
It was hot. It was, there was no aircon. It was hot.
There was a party going on, a festival all night.
So you had to shut the window because it was loud, but the room itself only had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bunk beds in there.
They had a really nice restaurant and a bar.
Yes, lovely food.
Nice food. Food was delicious.
Yeah, the town was minuscule. There was nothing to look at.
There was a nice bakery hidden around the back of it, though.
Yeah.
So you could go looking for it.
Although there was no one in there when we first got there, was there?
Yes, no, we had to come back later.
And then there's a pub across the road, which the reviews on Wise Pilgrim were awful, but actually we were fine with them.
We didn't mind us. They gave us some free pinchos.
And then Shane, we met this, I don't know who he was, maybe a priest or someone, and he gave us some religious medallions that Shane wore around his neck. He's not currently wearing it, but he did wear it for a very long time. So, yeah.
Then we went from Tarados to San Anton, 26 kilometres, and we stayed at the monastery there.
Yes, we did, and that was a donation to stay the night, and also a donation for dinner.
Yes.
Look, you know what? It was a great experience, and I'm glad we stayed. However, there was Shane and I and one other guy, so.
Yeah, if you had more people there, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
We just thought, it was a little bit quiet.
Funny though, the day before us and the day after us, there seemed to be a whole truckload of people. I think the night before us was 10 people because we could see in the register.
And we did walk through the town before it where we had a booking to stay at a spa.
A really nice place. A lot of people stay there. They have a pool and they have a spa section for your feet, and I've heard really great things about it. And people we met afterwards.
People, so they had the best time there.
Yeah, so we walked on. That town also had a pool because we walked past the pool on our way out. But we decided to go for the experience at St. Anton, and it was lovely, but I wouldn't do it again.
No, next time we'd probably go to the spa.
Yeah, definitely go to the spa. It was also St. Anton is advertised as having no electricity at all. However, there is a vending machine out the front, so make sure you take your coins with you, because lots of coins because
you can get beers and cokes and stuff from there. Plus, we also plugged our phone chargers into it.
Yes, we did. We plugged it into the vending machine to get some charge. But yeah, there's no lights and the water is cold in the shower facilities, but it was all totally fine. I mean, when we were there, it was like 30, 40 degrees, so the cold shower was actually totally fine. And the room that we slept in, I don't remember it being that hot, but remember there was also enough beds in there for maybe 20 people, and there was only 3 of us sleeping in there, so yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, I liked the experience.
Yeah, there you go.
So day 14, we went from San Anton to Badilla, 22.8 kilometres, and we stayed at Albergue en el Camino for.
And what we remember about that one was we couldn't check in because we were there too early. So the guy that owns that albergue, which has a pool out the back.
It does have a little pool out the back. Washing facilities, lots of room to hang stuff.
Yep. Next door, he also owns the bar and the restaurant. So we went over there and we had some drinks. We actually ended up getting a pilgrim meal there. That was a great pilgrim meal. Everyone was sitting around this really long table. We shared a pilgrim meal again.
Shared meals, yeah.
That was a good night.
You shared meal with everyone, that one, remember? Every 4 people got their own dishes served
to them. That's right, yeah. So between 4 people there was a soup, between 4 people there was wine, between 4 people there was the main. That's right, yeah.
Then we had a long day, so we went from Badilla to Cazadilla, 41.3 kilometers, and we stayed at Alberg Camino Real for €10.
Yeah. Now, was that the one? Was that the one
was
where the long
we did
stretch?
that 17k stretch with
So
the
most people,
van on the side.
most people stop at Carrion de Condes, and then do the next 17k's the next day. We didn't. We at Carrion de Condes, you actually bought your knee brace.
I did.
And we walked with the boys a little while, and then we kept walking, and it's like you've got to be really prepared on that one to have some snacks and some water because there's a long stretch. I think from memory it's like 17, is it 17 Ks?
17k's, yeah.
15, 17 Ks.
Yeah.
It's a long stretch with nothing there. However, there is a caravan that has been set up as a permanent fixture there where you can stop along that road. I don't know, maybe 8Ks in, I can't remember.
Through.
Yeah. And they serve like some drinks and some food there. It's limited, but
hot dogs and
it was a great little stop on the way. The actual accommodation that we stayed at, there was a lot of people in the room. They had a pool. They had no eating facilities, so we had to go around the corner to the restaurant,
couple doors down,
which was fine. What we discovered at that point is that we don't have to have a pilgrim meal each. So from that point on, I think it was, we got one pilgrim meal and we shared it. So I always got the entree, which was a humongous salad. Shane then always had the main meal, which was always like a meat or pasta dish or something. What was it that night? Do you remember?
Don't know.
And then you get dessert and you get unlimited amount of bread and unlimited amount of red wine. And we had no problems doing that. We did that quite a few times. We just paid €15 for a pilgrim meal and we ran halves. Yep. That easy. Did you want to say anything about that accommodation?
No, I liked it. Pool was good.
The toilets,
the guy was really friendly.
Yeah.
We checked into the one next door. We actually checked into two then by mistake.
And he rang us and he goes, "Have you arrived?" And we're like, yeah. And then we realised we're at the wrong one. But I remember the toilets and the showers felt like the toilets felt like the toilets you would get at a festival. They were tiny.
They were mixed as well.
Yeah,
Guys
it was guys and girls, toilets and showers in there. There was maybe 4 or 5 showers and maybe 3 toilets. But yeah, I would not stay there again. Would not stay there again. There's others to choose from.
Okay.
It was okay. Nothing bad about it. What was good though was there was lots of windows in the side wall and everyone had the windows open. And also at that place, I remember he had in between the beds like the double adapters and the power boards. So it was really great. You had lots of electricity to charge things on as well.
Yep. Day 16, Cazadilla to Chagon, halfway mark.
And that's where we stayed at.
That's where we stayed at, Alberg, Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, yeah, that was lovely.
Everyone stays there. I think it's an old monastery. It was €10. We had a private room, private bathroom.
It was €20 for the room, so €10 each, or we could have paid €10 for a bed in a shared dorm. So of course we're going to get the private room every time.
And the boys did as well, I think.
Yeah, and that was a street view, so we opened up our window, ground floor on the street. It was really quite nice. Had our own bathroom, great water pressure, really nice. I remember. Yep. The priest was nice. We went to the mass.
They do a communal meal. Everyone brings a dish. We didn't do it. We should have. We ended up just having our own picnic. But
it's also the halfway mark, and we can get a halfway Compostela there, which closes at like 1 o'clock in the day, but then opens again at 4 o'clock. Was that right?
Something like
4 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night. So we actually went there at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and we took up a picnic, and we got our Compostela for our halfway, and then we sat on the hill outside this building and we had a picnic. So that was really beautiful actually. We missed the dinner, should have done the dinner. I heard lots of great things about the dinner, but I guess it kind of felt a little bit hard. Like, I'm happy to pay for a meal, but it was more like, no, you don't have to pay for the meal, just bring something. And there was a kitchen there as well, so we saw people like boiling eggs and making pasta and stuff. And
it's a really good supermarket across the road.
There was a great supermarket.
Supermarket that we saw.
Yeah, it was one that really lit up our life actually. It was a great supermarket in that town.
Yeah.
And that had air conditioning?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I don't remember being hot.
I know we loved the room though and we're happy with it.
We did. Yeah, we did. And the beds were comfortable. Yeah.
Yep, easy. Chagon, day 17 to Mansilla de las Mulas. We did 36 kilometers that day. Stayed in Al Harin Albergue, €12.
Do not stay here. Do not stay here. It was cheap and nasty. We found out later on that there's a regulation that the beds, when you sleep in an albergue, beds need to be like, I think it was either 0.80 or 1 metre apart for health regulations, health and safety, and these beds were maybe 30 centimetres apart.
Yeah, they were piled on
far too close. We believe we got bed bugs there. Now, don't quote us, we could be wrong, but we think that's where we got them from. Also, they didn't, when you got there, most places give you the sheet, the paper sheet, the disposable sheet. They did not. They wanted you to pay extra for that.
Well, we didn't even know they were available. I didn't
know
that's
true. We didn't know they were available. Until much later on.
That, you could buy them for a euro. So instead, you ended up sleeping on like that plastic.
Hot and sticky, it was awful.
Had someone else's face like a foot from me.
Yeah, so you could touch the person on the bed next to you.
Just about kiss them.
It was a really hot night, and the aircon wasn't working. Was the fan working at one point?
We turned the fan on.
Yeah, which you did that. You had to work out that, and we had to find the remotes.
The aircon turned on.
They had a nice sitting area outside, but it was downstairs, and they make you walk the long way around. The restaurant was closed.
Yeah, it was during a public holiday, so the restaurant was shut. The whole town was pretty much shut.
Yeah, the whole town was shut. We did find a pizza place, which was delicious, and then we wanted something else or a drink. So then we sat outside the Servo, where all the local Spanish men were in there playing there.
The Servo is like a petrol station.
Yeah.
Is it in Australia?
Yes, that's right, the petrol station. And there was all these old men in there playing their card games and their dominoes and their poker and whatever else. But, but definitely we would not stay at that albergue again.
Definitely would not.
No, I didn't like that place.
But mostly there was just too many beds in the room.
Yeah, too many beds.
Too close.
Absolutely no. And if you have a look on Wise Pilgrim, a lot of people have said, bed bugs, stay away. So please do.
Then we go Mansilla de las Mulas to Leon. 18 kilometres. There we stayed at Hostel Ristorante Boccolino for 43 euros.
Yes.
Great location to get
Perfect
over the
location.
church. Really nice room.
For that one, remember, we also, when we booked that one, they took us across the road to the other building, and then we didn't like it. It was all single beds or no aircon.
No, they didn't even take us in. You asked if they had better ones with better views.
Oh, that's right. I wanted a better view, and they said, oh, we'll take you to the other building. So I went to the other building. We had a magnificent view. You open up your window straight onto the courtyard area.
Yeah,
is it called a courtyard?
Church.
What's it called? Like, it's a big, just open area.
If it was in Italy, it'd be called a piazza.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what you would call it in Spain.
But yeah, we could see the cathedral opposite us, and it was a beautiful location. That was beautiful aircon as well. We loved that aircon.
Yep.
Had a fridge as well, so we went to the supermarket and got some drinks.
Yep.
The bathroom was also fabulous. We did have to walk up 2 flights of stairs, which is never fabulous.
The only thing you didn't like was it came with a breakfast included, and rather than actually being a breakfast, they just handed you a ham and roll.
A ham roll. And I mean, remember we stayed in Vienna and we had that other hotel with the beautiful buffet breakfast. That's what we were expecting. A beautiful buffet breakfast, but it was terrible. So we could have got the package without breakfast, so I would recommend no breakfast. Just buy something along the way. You'll be more satisfied that way.
But yeah, really nice place to stay.
Yeah, really nice. And we went out that night and explored the town, had a few drinks, got a train ride around the town, did some history viewing. That was a great night, actually. A great place to stay as well. And what was it, 18 Ks to there?
18 Ks.
Yeah, so we got in pretty early, so that was also really great.
Leon to Hospital de Ortiga, 32.2 kilometres, and we stayed at Albergue Susina for 14 euros.
Now that one had a pool, and we were like, yay, that's so exciting. The pool was actually across the road.
Across the road, a public pool.
Which was fine. The pool was clean.
You do have to wear a hairnet if you have hair.
Even Shane got quizzed, and he's bald. So you've got to buy a hair cap from there, which was only a few euros anyway. It would have been worth it for us, but we kind of lost interest then. The actual accommodation, we got a really great deal. It was 14 euros, and we actually had our own room. There were 2 bunk beds in there, so enough for 4 people, but we had the room to ourselves with our own bathroom and our own key. However, They say that they do a pilgrim meal. There's absolutely no pilgrim meal. Maybe there wasn't food at all. They were more interested in serving the people at the bar watching the soccer than they were about us.
Game on, so yeah.
Yeah, the place was packed out the front though. We couldn't even get a seat at one point, did we?
We couldn't find food anywhere in that town. We ended up just buying a couple of bags of chips.
And that was after we went to church. We went to the church and then had the service, and then when we left, the little old lady went and opened up her milk bar across the road, and we went and bought some, I don't know, donuts or biscuits or chips. And that was dinner.
Yeah.
However, in that town...
And then we had a few ciders at the bar with Ernest.
Yes.
And he stayed at the...
Nice place.
Really nice place.
Can't remember what it was called, but it is like a yoga retreat place, and great reviews. It was also on our list, but it was hot and we decided to go for the one with the pool. That was a bad choice on our part. I mean, nothing too bad with the accommodation, just wasn't great, and there's other places that are better, which was the one that Ernest stayed down the road. So I've just looked it up, and that albergue was Albergue Verde, Verde. So that was in Hospital de Obigo, and that would be better than staying where we stayed, which was Albergue Cucina. And it was only €13, so it was $1 cheaper. So yeah, bear that in mind. Next.
Hospital del Ortigo, we walked on to Rabnel, del Camino, we stayed at a Donativo there, Refugio Donatino for €5. We walked 36.6 kilometres, that was a long day.
That was an 11-hour day actually, because I remember we walked in and they're like, oh, would you like some tea? And we're like, no. We've walked 11 Ks, we want beer.
It was like 5 in the afternoon by the time we got in.
It was a long day. We
wanted to stay at the tents, for the wigwam things beforehand in the town before, but they were shut. But yeah, for some reason that day just really cooked us.
Yeah.
It was just hot, and
we probably should have stayed at the town before us. There was a place there that we stopped to get a drink at. The reviews weren't great, so I wasn't keen to stay there. I'd heard really great reviews about this place, but I think I got somehow very confused because it was not the place I was expecting.
The place you were expecting in that town had shut down for renovation.
Oh, Stoneboat. Yeah. Stoneboat, and I think that's actually for sale. Maybe I should buy that. Anyway, where we stayed was not great. However, in the town, up the top, there was a great restaurant. We had the best burger and chips that night. I mean, again, we were hungry, we were starving, we were tired. Anything would have been great. The actual room that we stayed in wasn't too bad, but again, that was another place that we didn't think was sanitized all that well, and could also have been another bed bug place, because I didn't get the bed bugs till the next places when they came out on my body was when Shane noticed them, I think. Yep. No, two more stops. So that was day 20, we're at Rabnal del Camino, and on day 22 at Maria's is when, Susan's, is when Shane found them. So potentially it could have been the El Jardin that we just talked about before, or it could have been the Donativo at Rabnel. Again, this is just our belief.
Yeah.
So then after Rabnel, day 21, Molina Seca. We walked 24.5 kilometres and we stayed at Albergue Santa Maria. That was beautiful. That was just outside of town. We had our private room. It was €20 each. It was beautiful, renovated room. It had a beautiful ceiling, a really nice window, had a great bathroom. It had did it have chocolate or something, or a kettle, or had some few things that were a little bit unique and made it kind of nice.
That was the one we thought was chocolate and turned out to be soap.
Oh, it could have been that one. So yeah, no, it wasn't chocolate, it was soap. And of course our own luxurious tower, which was amazing, had aircon. That was a really nice place. You had to walk up some stairs to get there. However, we think we were the only ones staying there. And we had a private room. We may as well have actually probably spent less money or similar money and stayed in a dormitory and had the whole room to ourselves. But that was a great location.
Had some massage chairs downstairs, which we didn't get around to use. Really nice guy. Doesn't have very good English, but very friendly. We like that place.
And it also had really great reviews. And it's on the outskirts of town, so we walked back into town, which was probably 5 minutes.
Yeah,
5 minutes back into town. We had dinner in there. We met Tim Taylor, who was on my interviews, and then we walked back to the albergue. What it meant the next morning is when we got up, we already were out on the outskirts of town and we could just keep going. So it was a good one. Definitely would stay there again.
We love Molina Seca.
Yeah, we love Molina Seca.
We then went from Molina Seca to Villa Tulli del Arriba. 27.5 Ks and stayed at Levizigna.
And that was Susan's house. So that one there was off route, and we had to walk maybe a kilometre off the main route. So a kilometre to Susan's, and then the next morning a kilometre back on. So it is an extra 2 kilometres, but well worth it.
We loved it. One of our highlights for sure. If
you go back and watch my day 22 video,
21?
No, Villa Valtu.
Oh.
Yeah. If we go back and watch my day 22, or actually might have been my 23 video when we left the house, both Shane and I talked about how we left feeling full of love because they were beautiful. The place was beautiful. They had some dogs, which Shane absolutely loved to play with, which they have locked away unless you are welcoming for them and they let them out. She took us downstairs into the cellar.
Yeah, took us to the church. I got to ring the bell. They opened that up for us. Yeah, couldn't have been happy with it. The food was amazing.
Home cooked from their garden.
Yep.
There's enough beds there for 6 people, but we were the only ones there, so we were treated like royalty. And it was a very special night for both of us. I think we really loved it.
Definitely stay there again. That would be one of my 100%.
I'd even drive there and stay there for a week and help her renovate her downstairs area. That was a great place to stay. You really should try it.
From there we went to Trabadello, 14.1 kilometres. We went the long way over the hill through the
forest.
Not chestnut.
Was it the chestnuts? The chestnuts. Yeah,
that was a really nice walk, beautiful views. Quite steep, but it was a short day.
You could have taken the freeway there, and it was less kilometres, I think. But from what we spoke to people, it was a very, very boring walk.
Walking along traffic.
And the road, walking along the road. Whereas ours was, it was definitely a challenging walk up a big hill, but it was beautiful.
And then we stayed at Casa Susie, 27 euros. That's for dinner and a bed.
And this is the place that made me decide I want to buy an Alberg. That was a beautiful experience. It's a great setup there. You walk into their garage, they have where you check in, then you walk through another door and you've got like 10 beds, 2 bathrooms, all single beds, all well spaced out. There's a sitting area at the end where you could sit and read a paper. You could go outside.
There's a little orchard out the back, there's a river running through the backyard, you can swim in. Yeah, we love the place.
Yeah.
All the bathrooms are beautifully renovated.
Beautiful renovated bathrooms.
Lovely meal. They do a pilgrim meal where they sit down with you at the end of the... then basically everyone goes around and explains who they are and what they're doing, and they have the meal with you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Lovely place. And that for me was a real eye-opener, but definitely a turning point in my future goals.
Yeah, and they were very helpful as well when we got the bed bugs.
Yep.
Helen actually rang them and said, hey, look, sorry, I've just noticed that we have bed bugs, and they gave us some great advice on how to get rid of them and steps to take, so they were the only there.
So I definitely didn't get the bed bugs there, don't worry.
No.
But out of courtesy, when I realised I had them, so the night before, at Susan's house, Shane said, oh, I think you've got bed bugs. And I'm like, no, they're just bites, don't worry. And then it wasn't until after we left Casa Susie's that I realised they were suddenly all over me. So clearly living in my clothes for a few days before they came out, which is how we kind of went backwards to find out where we got them from. So yeah, definitely not Casa Susie's, but out of respect and courtesy, we did message all the people where we had stayed to let them know, just in case you wanted to re-sanitise our areas where we stayed. And yeah, they did give some great advice. That was also air conditioned. It was beautiful, and I remember having a great sleep there. It was cool. You could also pay a little bit extra and get some breakfast laid out for you in the morning, and they had real percolated coffee. Boots and sticks were left outside the bedroom, so it was just a really great setup. Nice setup.
Yeah, it was very good. From there we went to Sobrero. We stayed at the Hotel Sobrero for 58 euros, 18.4 kilometres. Quite a steep walk. I found that probably the steepest walk. I'm not sure about the elevations, but physically, it seemed like one of the harder ones. However, we stayed at a beautiful place, looked out over the church. We
had 2 double beds in that room too, didn't we?
We did have 2 double beds, private bathroom, had a bathtub in there.
Yeah,
the main reason
air
we
conditioning.
stayed there was you didn't want to stay at the Donativo because they have showers with no shower screens on. And so
why wouldn't you just put a shower curtain up for $2? Like, seriously.
So anyway, we thought it was probably time to splurge. So yeah,
Yes.
we booked out at the last minute and loved it.
Well, we're actually, when we got to Osabiro on the top of a hill, that was the first place we saw that had a bar. So we were having a drink at the bar
Yeah, we sat in with the
outside.
cyclists
We met
for a
some
couple of
cyclists,
hours,
yeah, and had a bit of a chat. And then it was like, okay, well, we better find some accommodation. So we just walked inside and got it.
Yep.
So that was really quite easy.
And then Saria.
Yay!
So Sabiro to Saria, 39.2 kilometres, and we stayed at a pension there, which we haven't got the name of, but it was €50.
It was called Pension, and Saria, that was the place when we first walked into town. It was on the right-hand side. We rang them, and
They came
it was
down.
supposed to be €60, but we bargained with them and got it down to €50. That night we wanted a private room, and we wanted somewhere with washing machine and a dryer. We wanted to wash all of our clothes, disinfect all of our clothes, so that's why we stayed there. And then
Yeah, it's like a hotel.
that
really.
was
Private
beautiful.
Bathroom. Yep.
Beautiful. I
Yeah,
really
massive
liked that
spot,
place. And it was close to town.
Machine dryers, yeah, close
It was
to town.
comfortable. The showers were great. The bed was great. The TV was a great TV up there as well, I remember. Aircon was great. Yeah, that was a great place. I had drying racks as well if you didn't want to use the dryer. So I put my some clothes on a drying rack out the front door. But yeah, that was a nice place to stay. And we did bargain with him to get a better price.
Yep. From there we went.
And also, that day was a really emotional day because
For you, a very emotional day.
because the bed bugs were killing me.
We
and
took a wrong turn coming out of Osabiro and walked an extra 3 or 4 k's. We didn't really need to walk.
Yes, and I was not emotional as in crying, and not as in the bed bugs were all over me and hurting. It was more about the stigma that comes with having bed bugs, and people would walk past you and they can see the bed bugs on your body. Now, of course, no one ever said anything to me. No one ever pointed at me, laughed at me, talked about me, etc. But in my mind, I just felt like the whole world was watching me, and I just felt really low and really down. And I remember that day having to walk up a hill, and it felt near impossible, which just goes to show that if you're not in the right mindset, hills are hard. Every other day I felt hills actually to be fine, but that day I remember the hill, it wasn't even a big one, but it was hard enough that it made me, really want to just dig my heels in and quit type of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of bed bugs out there. Like once you have had them, you look around at everyone's legs and arms and feet, and you see people with bites all over them. It's unfortunately one of the parts of the Camino.
Yeah, exactly right.
So then we went from Saria to Gonza. We stayed at a beautiful place. How far did we walk? 29.4 kilometres. We wanted to stay at Portamarin, was it?
That one, yes.
And then we ended up catching up with the girls.
No
again.
beds in Portamarin either. So this is
it
where
was booked out.
accommodation
Once you hit
became
Saria,
hard.
yeah.
Yep, so yeah, we did. We stayed at Gonza. Really lovely place. We had our own double room upstairs. That was
the
one
biggest
of
pilgrim menus. They just kept bringing out meat. It was like, "John, more meat." Yeah, barbecued steak and chops. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so I had the
milk.
salad, and Shane had this big chopping board that came out, a huge chopping board full of meat, and then they wanted to give him more.
Yeah.
That was actually a really great meal. That was a really nice place to stay as well. In Gonza, just be careful because we actually stopped first of all at the albergue on the corner, the municipal albergue, and then realised it wasn't the right place, so we kept walking up and around the corner and we found it.
Yeah, so Casa Garcia.
Casa Garcia,
Run by a
which
lovely
means
lady.
house.
And
House Garcia. I think
Home.
her name, home. Yeah.
Mi casa, su casa. My
Yeah.
house, your house.
Yeah. That was a great place. Yep. Okay, so where are we up to?
So day 27.
Yep.
So Gonza to Melidi, 31.5 k's. We stayed at Pension Al Molino for €35, which is pretty much like an apartment with a shared bathroom.
Yes, we did have a shared bathroom. Yes, we did. But we had to check into the restaurant, and that was really busy, so great food there. We didn't actually eat any food there, but it had good reviews.
It looked really nice, the food coming out of there.
Yeah, it did actually. And then you check in there, got the key, and then they walk you around the block type of thing, outside the front door and around the block, and then up the slowest lift in the world and into our room. And our room, you kind of unlock a door to go through to our room, and there's 2 rooms. There's our room and another room, both with locked doors. So we had one of the rooms in there. So we shared that bathroom with another couple people
We did.
ever who was there.
Yeah.
And that room, actually, I wasn't a fan of that room. I didn't really like that. I wouldn't stay there again. It was also off the beaten track a bit in the town. Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't even remember if there was aircon, but I remember I remember there was Pantene shampoo in the shower. That was good. I liked that.
Yeah, it was very old-fashioned. Like
Very
very
old-fashioned.
old-fashioned place. But yeah, I didn't mind it.
It had the roller shutters for the window, so it was actually very dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't stay there again.
Okay. From there we went to Silesia.
Yep, that was day 28.
25.1 kilometres, and we stayed at Albergue Turistico di Salidia for €17.
And that was Shane's birthday.
That was the day I was really sick with something, food poisoning, not sure what it was, but yeah, basically I arrived feeling fine, checked in, had a beer, 2 sips of a beer, and I was like, I think I'm going to throw up. Ran, and that was pretty much me for the rest of the night. I can tell you the bathrooms are very nice. So I think there was 2, 4, 6, 8 beds maybe in there, and then you have 2 bathrooms, a male and girls, and they're basically just a toilet and a shower in there.
But they were nice as well.
They're
They were
really
nice
well
and
renovated,
modern.
really
Yeah.
nice. The place itself looked beautiful, but
Beautiful.
I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, so that had some nice sitting areas. It also had a nice bar. We had some really nice. What was the red drink that I had? Sangria. They were really cheap and really delicious. I had Shane's as well. He went to bed. They had a great restaurant there with a great pilgrim meal. We ate with. Oh, well, that was interesting. So our friend Ernest from Germany walked 50 kilometres that day to get there to help celebrate Shane's birthday. Little did he know Shane was in bed when he arrived. So we had dinner with him and a nurse that we met as well that day, and someone else I can't remember. So the 4 of us had dinner together while Shane slept. It also had a little, like a little spa, like a plunge pool out the back as well. It had like a really long little pond in the middle of the property there. It was a very big property, very open outdoor property, and I would definitely stay there again. It was actually really beautiful. I really loved it, and they did have private rooms there, but I felt that the private room was a little bit expensive, and we were also a day away from Santiago at this point.
Yes. So the day 29 we did Salsadilla to Santiago, 27.6 kilometres, and then we booked into Hostel San Peleo. Our first few attempts at accommodation in Santiago did not go well. This has been the first of them.
So that was €58, and it was we had to walk up some stairs.
It looked like it was going to fall down around our heads. It was just don't even look, don't even bother.
Don't even go there. They had
So,
really loud music outside the window. We were trying to get to sleep because we had to.
It looked like a halfway house.
We were moving on to Finisterre.
It was just gross.
The door
dirty,
didn't lock
disgusting.
properly.
Yep.
Yeah, don't stay there.
Hostel San Peleo, big no.
No.
Then we
Day
did Santiago on our way to Finisterre, so Negria, 20.9 kilometres. We stayed at Albergue Cotton for €15.
Which I really liked. I thought it was really nice, really clean, really new, really modern, great facilities. It had dryer, washing machine. It had
lots and lots of bathrooms, all private.
Yep.
Like toilet, shower, you just close the door.
Yep.
They must have had 10 of them or something.
They had clotheslines outside the windows, so great for your. But there was a lot of beds in there though, and the room was split into 2, like with a wall down the middle. And on like the one side of the room, there was probably 20 bunk beds, and on the other side, 20 bunk beds. So easily 40, 80 people sleeping there, and a big kitchen out the front. However, this was the morning that Ernest, who was sleeping in a bed next to us, woke us up at 5 a.m. and said, guys, we're leaving. He woke up covered in bed bugs. Now, we don't know, again, if that's where he got them from or if he got them from the hostel that he stayed at in Santiago, which was right near where you get your Compostela. I cannot remember the name of it. So he might have got them from there. I don't know. But it was at this point where he felt like he was being bitten alive, and we kind of got up and left.
Yes. But yeah, we did like the place.
Yeah, we did like the place.
And the fact he probably wasn't getting bitten by bed bugs there, but we don't know. But anyway, really nice place. We'd stay there again.
Yeah. Yes.
What have we got? So Negria to Oliveria.
Yep.
Alberga Casa Melinda, €50.
Yeah, so that one, we walked 33 kilometres and we got there, and the guy was a little bit rude behind the counter. Yes, admittedly, it was peak time at the restaurant. It was full, it was busy. There was lots of workers there, by the like workmen or something, getting meals. So we got the key, we went over into our room. everyone had taken the bottom bunk, so I had to have a top bunk, as did Shane, and I was like, I'm not really sure about this. So we went back outside, and some other people who were in that room saw us, and they came out and said, oh, look, you can have my bottom bunk, because I'm actually going to sleep in my bunk with my wife. So I actually don't need a bottom bunk. So that was okay for a minute. And then we just decided, you know what? We've walked for 31 days. We're going to splurge.
He got a private room.
Oh, he did.
I'd been trying to talk Helen into getting a private room the whole time we were there. And she was like, no, we will stay with them. And we saw Ernest's room and we're like, we're going to get one of these. And
so we did. For $50, we splurged. So I think
private room, private bathroom.
I think the beds there were probably only like 15, 20 euros, but we ended up paying like 25 euros each. That one as well had the washing machine and the dryers and clothesline out the back. We washed also our bags in the shower, so I had a great shower. It was a very big bathroom.
We had some bed bug chemicals we sprayed everything with that we got from the chemist.
Chucked out a whole heap of clothes at this point. Chucked out, a jumper I hadn't worn at all. Chucked out tracksuit pants I hadn't worn at all.
The day before we finished. Decided to line
we're carrying them all the way.
Most people do it at Roncesvalles, but not Alan.
No. But yeah, if you could stay at that place, get a private room. It was actually a really nice place. Yeah. It had like an eating room downstairs as well, like a communal dining room, and it had a vending machine in there as well with some books.
There, we had a meal across the road at the other bar.
Yep. That's where I did my interview for Olivia, actually, from UK, I think. Then, day 32, we walked from Olivia to Finisterre. And that was 31 kilometres. And we stayed at a place called Casa Real 43. And that was an Airbnb. And that cost us Australian $120. So we booked that on Airbnb. I had a voucher, I think, for maybe $40 or $50. So it probably would have been a little bit dearer.
120 euros.
Yeah, but it was unbelievable. It was amazing. We
Beautiful.
loved
Check the video out.
Check the video.
Had 3 stories, I think. All with views looking out over the port.
It was amazing.
Loved it. Right in the middle of town.
Perfect location.
Couldn't have been any better.
No, it was amazing. Yep. Then the next day, day 33, we walked to the lighthouse, and then we stayed another night in Finisterre. That was in an albergue in a private room where Ernest was staying, and that was called Albergue Finisterre, and that was 36 euros for a private room. That room was tiny, small, but it was all we needed. It was the end of our trip. We were done. Had air conditioning, had a vending machine out the front, which we heard sells a lot. Apparently makes lots of money. I think that was someone told us that. Who told us that? Someone told us that.
The owner was actually getting money out of it. I can't remember how much it made, but he said made
a fortune.
Made a lot.
Yeah, made a fortune. Then what happened?
Then we took the bus to Muxia the following day.
Yep.
And then back to Santiago.
In
Santiago, we stayed at another horrible place, Albergue Seminaro Menorah. It's like, it must have, 1,000 rooms. It's a big monastery. We didn't love it. The toilets were miles away.
And you booked that through bookings.com too, I think.
I did book that through bookings.com. Ernest thinks he probably got bed bugs the second time there, or the third time there. We didn't like it. We booked out the next day, and we actually stayed in a hotel,
we treated ourselves to this place. It was called Caris Casa Hotel. And it was probably about 200 and maybe 30 Australian dollars. It was gorgeous, beautiful. It had its own, like, the bathroom with the bathtub with a big window, so you could open up the blinds and see straight into the bedroom. If you like that or not, I don't know. But it was just a really nice, well-designed hotel. It also had, like, at the other end of the hotel room, it had like a little platform that you step up onto, and you can, like a balcony, but an inside balcony, and you can see the rooftop of the cathedral. So that was a really lovely way to finish our trip in Santiago. We've got so much more we could talk about, but we've done enough talking for today. I hope you enjoy our video. Go back and watch all of the videos each day. I did a bit of I always showed photos of where we stayed and how much it cost. Also, in the 2 videos that I did just a few weeks ago, I basically did just the accommodation with none of us talking. We've just talked through the whole trip because we wanted to give some insights that maybe you hadn't heard before. I would say for me, my 3 top places would have been in Viana, the hotel. Loved the breakfast. It would have been Susan's house in, I can't remember, what did we say, Villa Vatu. I really loved that whole experience, and I love the way my heart felt when I left there. And I really loved staying at Casa Susie. They were my top 3. Do you have a top 1? Top 2?
I like all those 3 were really nice. The hotel in Osabriro was really nice as well. I like the one with the pool where we first really got to know Ernest and Hans.
Chinquane.
Yeah, that was a really nice hostel and so close to the pool.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the.
That was actually Le Quin. That was Le Quin. Yeah, that was
a favourite night for sure.
Yeah, that was a great night. But the hotel room probably was just.
Well, a lot of that was probably because of the location to the pool and
that was definitely a good stop because we did get to have some really great time with Ernest and what was the other guy's name? Hans, and then we met that guy from Switzerland who was doing the Camino backwards.
Yep.
That was a nice place. But yeah, we are always here to answer your chat questions, so send them through, and I hope you enjoy.